Yes, I've got a couple of things, and I'm really, really impressed by the way we approach the questions. That shows that we are following, and I like the fact that everybody is actually into this. Want to get something. I know that's why a lot of people are reaching out, just like okay, because they really want to know it. I like that. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. So now for today, I'm going to start with data cleaning. Then I'm going to go to the data analysis. So I'm going to give you some of the examples that we treated in the videos, and you can ask your questions. Like the part that you don't get, the I know a lot of people have the questions that they don't have text after in their Excel functions, and I reply to some people, and I actually reply to some people with them. We also have text to column. So if that one doesn't work, you have text to column, and some people also go ahead and use the formula that we talk about in text, whereby you have to extract from right and left and stuff like that. A lot of people do that and they get it right. So there are different ways to like clean your data in Excel, and that's it. So without wasting much of our time, let me just go to the work of today. So I'm going to open. So in the last class, we talked about the audible data set. That's our data cleaning data set. So, and I made mention that we have two main types of data cleaning. We have the general data cleaning and problem specific data cleaning. Like general data cleaning is the data cleaning that every data analyst carry out on their data. So the likes of outliers, duplicate values, and outliers, duplicate values, missing values. So all those data cleaning has to be carried out because your data where you are bringing it from is not clean. So the data from the source is not always clean. Like 99% of time is not always clean. So you have to clean it. And yeah, so you have to do the data cleaning yourself. And if you don't clean data properly, it will affect your results in the long run because data analysis is a kind of like a garbage in, garbage out something. So if data is not properly clean, then it's going to affect the integrity of the results. So that's why you have to take your time and clean the data properly. As a matter of fact, in our data analysis thing, 70 or 65% of time is used for data cleaning. So that's the thing, you use like 65 or 70% of time to clean the data because the data has to be clean before you carry out your analysis. So, so let me quickly just share my screen so that we can follow along on what I'm talking about. Now, I have this data set here now. So we call it an audiobook data set. So a data set is gathered for all the audiobook that's been released from what was that yesterday? 2008 to 2025 or something. So we gather the data set. And now, if I'm going to analyze this type of data set now, I noticed that there's some data cleaning issue with this data set. One of the data cleaning issue I realized is this author name. Author name, when you put the author of the audiobook, is also put in written by. I don't really need the written by there. So what I need for this column is just to be the what author name alone. So I also need the narrator name and the time. Now, let me talk about the general cleaning process that I talk about. So for this data set now, this data set can contain missing value, duplicate values, and duplicate value, missing value, and outliers without us seeing it. So we have to do some check on our part to see whether it really contains it. I'm sure this data set I have here contains those general data cleaning issues, which I have to identify. But when it comes to problem specific data cleaning issue, let's say for this data set now, I need to use the time. I need to analyze okay, what is the average time of each audiobook, or what is the maximum time for the audiobook or the minimum time for the audiobook. Now, I needed this time column for my analysis. That's a kind of like problem specific issue. If I don't really need this column, this time column, I might not, if it's not really included in my analysis, I might not clean it. I might remove the column since I don't need it. So because I need it, I have to clean it. That's an example of problem uh, specific issue. And also the stars rating. Probably I want to see the average star or what is the total rating. Now I have to clean this uh, star column too in order for me to get the values out because this star column is not really in the appropriate format. You can see we just is in the form of a text or a sentence. 5 out of 5 stars, 34 rating. So I want a situation whereby I'm going to have the star in one column and the rating is another column. With that, I can do my analysis with that. So those are the data cleaning issue we identify with this thing. So the first data cleaning that we have to carry out is to check whether the data contains missing value. And like I said, if you are dealing with large amount of data sets, you can't easily see the missing value from probably the first 100 or the first 20 rows I'm looking at here. So you can't really see it. Yeah, so you have to check first to see whether this data set really contains missing value or not. And what are the ways I say we can do that? I say we can use the count blank. Count blank is a function, one of the functions that we talk about when we're talking about Excel function. It's a function that is used to check whether there's a missing value in a column or not, like empty cell. So if there's an empty cell um, in a particular column, then count blank will detect it. So that is one way we can do that. So how do I use count blank? I just have to go to the bottom, just um, so now I can use the count blank function using equals to count blank. Is that you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So now, so for this count blank answer, I just have to state the range of the column that I'm taking the blank from. And starting from A2, that's the first cell, excluding the header. A2 to we use the range to the last column, which is the A 10,000 to 15. So from this now, if I press enter, it's going to give me whether there's an empty cell within this column. But from this, we are getting zero. That means there's no empty cell in this column that we have here now. So if I try to like apply the formula to the other ones, I find out that most of these columns have this missing value, like the time
Please,
column,
what's the formula again?
count blank. Count blank, then you state the range of your column. The range is where it starts from and where it ends. So A2 column, A 10,000 to 50. That's the range of that particular column. So after creating it, you can apply the formula to the other columns to get an idea of the missing value that we have here. So for this now, the number of missing value that we have for the time column is 2. You can see we have 2. So let me quickly do something here now that we can see what I'm saying. Let me freeze the header so that we can see the column with the view. So where's the freeze data? Okay, freeze top row. Yeah. So now go back to the project. So from this now you can see that the time column has um contains two missing value, and also the star column contains missing value. So let me drag it to the price. I'm going to drag it to the price, and the price also contains missing value. Now the amount of the missing value that your data contains will determine how you are going to deal with it. So you have to be very, very careful with missing value now. Now, if the missing value is not that much, probably like let's say 5% of your data set, or 10% if your data is large. Like let me just say 5% of the data set. If your 5% of the data set is uh contains missing value, then you can remove it. You can remove the rows that contains missing value. Now, another thing that determines whether you are going to remove it is this. You have to check the column. You have to check the column. If the column that contains the missing value is not important to your data analysis, like it's not important, please, you have to, like, you don't consider that. Let's say, for example, now my the language now, probably let's say the language column now, I don't really need the language column in my analysis. My language column contains, let's say, 50% of the missing value. In that case, I don't have to remove the 50% of the rows. What I need to do is just remove the column. Since the column is not really important, if the column contains large missing value and it's not really important in your analysis, it's better for you to remove the column than to remove the rows. That's the first thing. So the second thing is this. If a particular column is very, very important and it contains large amount of missing value, you have to go back to data source. Probably where you collect your data, maybe your data engineer or the database administrator or anybody that collects data. You have to go back to them, because if you remove 50% of your data set because of missing value, the remaining 50% is not really enough to give you the or it's not enough for you to like make a decision, because I collect 100 data set, I remove 50 out of it. I can't really make a judgment or a decision based on the remaining 50%, because it's not okay. So in that case, you have to go back to the what's it called now, to the data source, or where you collect your data to correct it. Probably you have to reach out to your data engineer that, okay, this data set is contain missing value, and the analysis. That's okay. But if the data set does not really contain that much of column, doesn't really contain that much of, let's say, maybe like 5%, you can remove the rows that contain missing value from it. It won't really affect your analysis much. Like 95% is still okay. I still go ahead with that. so it doesn't really affect it that much. So that. Now, since I've identified the, okay, Bright, your hand is up.
Okay. I wanted to ask a question.
Okay.
Okay, in place of removing the those column that contains a missing value, I was
Yeah.
thinking we can put something like unspecified.
Unspecified. Okay, now unspecified. Now the unspecified will now determine the type of analysis. Now, if I'm trying to like probably check for price now, or I'm trying to analyze for price or anything, or a particular, let's say it's the transactional data set now, and they have to carry out the transaction. If I put in unspecified there, my boss will go with that. Okay. Why will you put unspecified? Because if I try to add up everything to know the total sales that we make today, it's still going to affect the result. So it also depends on the domain that you're analyzing data. If it's something that is not really going to affect the other one, like for example now, in terms of let's say maybe stars rating, now I can say unspecified. That one might be like a bit understandable because we have something that is not rated. But in terms of price now, unspecified will not go along with that. So another thing you can do for that one now to replace your missing value is that we can use mean median mode. Now I'm very, very sure like measure of central tendency, measure of centrality, mean median mode. I've heard of it before in my statistics. Now we tend to use mean to let's for example now I have a missing value in my price column. If it's not that much, if the missing value is not that much, I can represent the missing value with the mean of the what of the price. So I'm going to find the mean of the price and replace it with the mean of the price. So we can use the mean of median. Now I'm going to talk about statistics like briefly now. We have the mean and median. Mean and median are also the measure of centrality. Now, but there is a situation, there is a particular situation where we use the mean. There's a particular situation where we use the median. Now, if your data is normally distributed, I don't know anybody have like we normally check the distribution of the data sets. Like check the distribution of data sets. If it's not normally distributed, we use the median. But if data set is normally distributed, we use the mean. So we can replace your price with mean or median. But if it's a categorical data set in terms of like, let's say language now, language is a categorical data set. So I can replace it with the mode, which is the most occurring value. So I have missing value, there's no match. So I can replace it with the mode value. That is that. But if there's another way you can actually deal with missing value, I will advise you to go in that way. So that you remove it or you check out from your data source. So that's like different way we can deal with missing values in your data set. So I've identified that these columns now has missing value. So which is the time, the stars, and the price. So after identifying it, so the next for me is to deal with it. And what I want to do with it is just to remove it because I don't really leave it like that. So I'm just going to remove it now. Sorry. Is this okay? So now, so after identifying that now, so to remove it, I'm going to enable the filter option. So I'm just going to I'm going to filter the value out so that I can delete them. So I can't really identify them from just like I can't be scrolling and be identifying them one after the other because of time. So what you can do is just filter them out and delete them from your data set. So I'm going to come to so the time has a missing value. So I'm going to come to the time. And if you scroll down, you are going to see blank there, or you can type in blank here to search for it. You can see we have the blank there, and I'm going to select the blank as a missing value. And you can see this is the two column whereby I have missing value in the data set. So I can remove the two column. So I just remove the first one, just delete it, delete the row, and you can also delete the row. And that's that. So I've deleted the two rows. So let me just bring this thing back to a filter. I can check the price to see whether there's missing value there again. So if I check blank, there's no blank. So I think I've removed that particular one. And what that one has that missing value? I think it's tab. So if I type in blank now. Now, so that is one part of missing value. So another thing I want to mention about missing value is that It's not every missing value that is going to be blank. Oh. Some of them can be just null, depending on the source of your data set. Probably the column, what is going to be in the cell is just null. So you have to check from the null. Like when you are checking null from that count blank, it's not going to show you that this that okay, this null is part of the missing value, because you know what count blank is doing is just counting the number of cells that are empty, that doesn't contain anything. So missing value can just be null, like null written in a particular cell. So you have to like identify that from the filter too. So if I click on filter now, null will be the first value, like in anything. The null will be the first value in this like all the unique value that I have here. So you can also filter the null or any. So that is for clearing of missing value. Please, do anybody have question on that before we proceed? Okay, ADBC, I see your hands up.
Yes, I was wondering how you did the filter again, the filter option.
Okay, so you just come to the home button here. From
Yeah.
the home button, so you go to the sort and filter. You can see the sort and filter option here. To the left, to the
Yeah.
right hand side. So when you click on it, just so I've disabled the filter now. So to enable it back, just click on it and click on filter, and
Do
automatically it's
you
going to
set okay, do
just
you
check.
select the whole table?
No, you don't have to select the whole table.
Okay.
Just select any of the cell in between this thing and just go there and select it. Then it's going to show your filter. Let me do that again. So you can see now
Yes.
automatically. So that's all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's about the missing value. So the next one we want to talk about now is outliers. Now, the outliers in a particular column will be determined by you and your analysis and the domain, like the domain at which you analyze the data set. Now, that's why before you can jump to data cleaning or wrangling or transformation, you have to have a very proper understanding of the data set you are working with and the analysis you are doing. So it is very, very good for you to understand the data set very, very, very well. Because if you don't understand the data set or the analysis you are trying to carry out, you won't know how to clean the data set. It is, for example, now I'm analyzing this audible data set now. It is me that I know that this is what I need because of the analysis that I already listed out that I want to do. So without the proper understanding of the analysis and data set, it is very, very hard to carry out data cleaning. You understand now? So it is very, very hard. So for me now, I want to identify outliers. Outliers, like I said, are extreme values towards the higher side or the lower side. The values that are not expected to be in the range of the data sets, those are outliers. So you can determine the outliers in the value by majority of time is in the numeric value. Okay, so for this one, the range of price that should be in this, let's say, okay, the range of price that should be in this particular data set is between maybe zero or maybe 1 naira to 1,000 or 1 naira to $2,000 from $1 to $2,000. That's the range of the price of the audiobook. So if I'm having an audiobook of like 5,000, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000, is an outlier. That is based on my own understanding. So I'm not saying for this case now it's an outlier, but that's based on my own understanding of data set. So you have to have an understanding of data set and the analysis before you can determine your outlier. So for me now, anything outside like $1 to $2,000 is an outlier for me. So I have to flag it and remove the outlier from my results. Because if I don't remove the outlier, it's going to affect the result also. So how do I identify outliers or how do I remove outliers? So I can remove outliers by I can use the conditional formatting option. Whereby I have to format the rows that contain outliers. So if I was able to identify the rows that contain outliers, so then I can remove it from my analysis. So if I can identify the rows that contain the outliers, so I need to remove them from my analysis. So to do that now, I'm going to just select the whole data set from the first. I'm not selecting the header this time. I'm selecting the second row that contains the real data set, not the header. So after selecting the first, then I click on Control Shift to highlight everything to the side and everything to the bottom. So I've highlighted all the data sets now. So what I need to do is just come to the home and use conditional format. You know why the conditional formatting we talked about the other time? Conditional formatting we talked about the other time. So click on conditional formatting. So in this case now, I'm using new rule. New rule. So because I have to like create my own rule for this formatting. So I'm going to use formula to create my rule, use formula to determine which cells to format. Then I put in my formula here. Now the formula is that any value that is greater than any price value that is greater than $2,000 is an outlier for me. Any price value that is greater than $2,000 is an outlier for me. So to do that now, so I'm going to select the first cell in the price column, which is the H2. So select only the price column. So now for you to apply this thing to other cells, to other rows, now you have to remove the what's it called now, the locking in the row name, so that you can apply to the other ones. Because if I put lock in the row name, it's going to apply to only the first that particular row. If I want to apply to the other row, that's I have to remove the locking from the row name. That's H2. Then greater than 2000. That's my distance. I'm going to put greater than 2000. So that's my condition. So I want you to format any cells that's greater than 2000. So after doing that, then I have to select a format option here, like a color that I want to use. We have different format options. I'm going to use fill. So use fill. Then I'm going to like probably select it, fill it with this particular maybe red color, and click. Oh, sorry. Right click this thing. So after doing that, then click this thing. Click OK. So that's my format option. So when I click OK now, the data set has been formatted. So now it's a large data set. I might not see it up here. So to check now, I'll just go there and check filter this. So that means I don't have any value that is greater than 2000 here. So let me check. I have a value that is greater than 2000. This is 1000 something. So this is like something. So I click OK. Let me filter again. Not by color. So I'm going to sort it. I'm going to filter by color. Filter by color. So filter out the part that I've actually put the conditional formatting on. So filter by color. So I'm going to select the color. And this is the part. You can see some of the parts that is greater than 2000, although some of them are free. So what I'm to do now is like to delete the part that contains the outlier, which is like greater than $2,000. So how do I do that? It's by deleting the column of those ones alone. So deleting the rows. So I can delete this row, I like the column, put the other one. Okay. So like this and this another. Sorry, this. I think it's this. This. Okay. This and this and this. No. I'm going to remove some parts here. Sorry for that. So delete this one. That's my cursor of this. That's the minute. So let me just delete this row. Delete this row. The first one. So those are the ones that contain the outlier. So I'm deleting them from the data set now. Okay. Delete this. Okay. So I can delete it too. Now, so I've removed the rows that contain the outlier set now from this data set. So those are the ones that identify based on my formatting. Then I can just go back to my normal defaults and clear filter. Then I can just clear my filter because I've already removed the ones that contain outlier. So to clear the filter from the other one, just clear roof from the entire sheet. And that's that. So after identifying and remove the outliers, that's the first thing. Now the other one is just now standardizing of these data formats. Now one of the issues I also identify is that I want to only have the author name in this column. I don't need this written by. Okay, Sekina, I see your hands up.
Okay, so I want to ask about the outliers. So
Okay.
instead of using that conditional formatting, you're talking about the price column, right? What if you just like filter it and just write if it's greater than 3000? Does it work like that also?
It works like that. That's another way to do that. Yes,
All
it works
right,
like
thank you.
yeah, it works like that. Thank you, Sekina. So you can also filter out. So that's another way. Filter out values that contain that system. Okay, Yusuf. Yusuf
Can
Amichu.
you do can you just what the other person just said now? Can
Okay.
you demonstrate it for the benefit of those that don't know how to
Oh,
use it in that way,
okay.
or in the
So what
at
she's
least
saying is
they
this:
will have
like instead of
two
using,
options.
okay. So what she's saying is this: instead of like using the conditional format, we can also do some other ways of like stating your condition from this number filter, like using the filter option here. So if I come here now, so I want to say, okay, I want to format, I want to remove my outlier is any value that is greater than probably 1000. So any value that is greater than 1000 is an outlier for me. So I can just state the condition here that okay, greater than from this number filter here, greater than I just put 1000 and I click OK. And you can see these are all the values that are greater than 1000. Then I can delete them. Although we're not deleting this one. So that's what she's saying. But you can also you can apply this format also and clear that. So another thing we want to talk about now is like this text column now. I want the only the author name and the narrator name in my data sets. I don't want the retake by and everything there. So how do we do this now? I can insert a column in front of this, like I explained in the video. Sorry, it's in front, not the back. Insert the column here, insert. Then I can just extract the author name. Now, what I used for my own side, I use text after in the video, and you can use text after, state the text, and what is delimiter? The delimiter is the column, like the column in between the written by and name. So I put it there, and I close the bracket. Sorry, the column has to be in quotes. About so put it in quotes, put the column, put it in and close it, and you extract the first name after the delimiter. So that's the first way to talk to go about it using the text after. And you can also like just click on the auto fill, it's going to fill up. So the other part is the text to column that actually explains to a lot of people. Now for the text to column, I might not really need to like put in this option here. Can just you might not really need to put this column. Let's just try it out. So select the column you wanted to extract from, then you go to the data tab. So from the data tab, you see the text to column option here. Select the text to column option. Now for this case now, my data is delimited. Delimited is like the separator between what you want to extract and what you want to keep. So select delimited. Now click on next. So after clicking on next, it's going to ask you what is the delimiter that is, what is the separator that you want to use. The separator is listed here. It's not listed as semicolon. I don't think semicolon is here. Comma. That one is colon, right? Sorry. So if you don't have your delimiter here, so you have to click on order. So check this one, click on order, and you put the delimiter or the separator there, which is the column. Immediately I tap in that column there, you can see that automatically you are separate. There's a line in between the written by and the other name. You understand now? You can see you are separated them into two by this line here. See what I'm saying now? So what I need is this. So if I click next, automatically it's going to import these two columns. But I don't need these two columns. So I only need this name of the author. So I can just click on next. So after clicking on next, I can exclude the column that I don't need. I don't want this particular written by or anything like that. So I can just select the column and just do not import. So do not import that is not going to import this particular column into my Excel worksheet. There's only this other one that is going to import. So I can just click on finish. Then I have my author name here. So that's that. So I can just call this one author name. So that's the first part there. So the other part that made mention was like is checking for inconsistency in this particular column. Inconsistency is that we can have like a trailing space in between or after or at the end of each name. So in a text column, it's better to check for trailing space because you can't really tell or determine by just looking at the value. So I have to trim the column. So how do I trim it? To remove the trailing space, I use the trim function. Select this thing and put it there and just select that, and that's that for that one. And also if you wanted to convert this thing to capital letter and lowercase and uppercase, we already talked about that in the other class, how you convert to uppercase and lowercase. So I don't really have to like talk about that. So I trim it. So for me to copy the trim value into the author name, I just copy it. So when you are pasting, you have to paste as a value. Please take note of this. Don't paste as a formula. Paste as a value so that you can get the value. So paste as a value, then you cannot delete this other one since you don't need the anymore. Delete this one. Can rename this one to author name. So that's for this. So I can also use the same for narrator. Let me just use text to column for narrator also. So delimiter next. The delimiter is this. You can see next. So skip this. Import and finish. And that's that. So narrator name. So narrator name. So that's that. That's that. And you can also trim that one for what's it called, for any inconsistency within this asset. Probably trim because of trading space. I can also convert to lowercase or uppercase. Now another issue that we have here is the date. Now there's always issue with the date format in Excel sometimes, and one of the reasons why we get this is this: the source where you are bringing your data from. The date format there might be quite different from the date format you have on your laptop. And if there is like a kind of like contradiction between the two formats, now it's going to lead to something like this, whereby some of the dates will be converted to text, while some of the dates will be converted to the normal date. It's because it doesn't really understand the date format of data that you imported. That's why it's giving this kind of issue. So, and we have that a lot. So in this case now, we have to convert it, every of the date format, to the format that we need. One of the reasons why we have this issue is this: you notice that the original format of this data set, of this date column, is the day first, then the month, then the year. So you can see 13th of January 2010. That's the format that it comes from the original source. But when I load the data into Excel, you find out that some of these things, for example, now this one, it should be 4th of August, not probably the way my dates, like this one should be 4th of August. You understand that? Like day, month, and year. But the way my own Excel is interpreting is like 8th of April, because month is coming first. You can see that there's like misunderstanding between the date format now. But the original date format is what is day, month, and year. So I have to convert everything to be in the same format so that Excel can understand the real format of the date. So how do I do that? It's by selecting the column. So I'm going to use text to column for this also to convert the date format. Selecting the column, then I come to text to column. From text to column, I'm not going to select delimiter here because I'm not splitting the column into column into different columns. I just want to like convert the data type into the appropriate format. So I'm going to select fixed width in this case. So from fixed width, I'm going to go to next. So from the next now, click on another next. So from this part, this is where you change the the format of your date. The format of your date. So the default format for my system is month, day, and year. You can see here, month, day, and year. Meanwhile, the format of this date is day, month, and year. So I'm going to click on date column and change the format to day, month, and year. You can see after doing that, just click on finish. And you can see all the data has actually conform to the appropriate format. And that is how you deal with date format. So you have to check the original format, like or format of the date where you are bringing it, because sometimes the format of the date is quite different from what my system is interpreting. So you have to check from the source. Okay, what is the format that this date is coming? Is it day, month, year? And check whether it is correctly interpreted in your Excel worksheet. So that is that. Any question on this date formats or any other thing? Any question? Sakina, are you raising up your hand? Okay, I have Clement. Clement, I'm with you.
Please, could you please go over it again? Sorry, I missed a part, so I just want to.
Okay.
Don't want to miss something. Don't mind.
Okay, that's Lawrence.
Please, Mr. Ola, can you
Yes.
please go back to that particular place where you were teaching about author, changing the author name, splitting the cells? Because the other class used the test formats, test after, which was not really in my own Excel. So I'm trying to get another means of doing it. So I
But
couldn't pick up what you taught last. So I would just want to pick it up now.
you just joined. You just joined the set. You just joined the class now, right? You just joined.
No, not. I've been having network issue. I joined. It takes me out. So
Okay, the thing is this. We have a lot of things we want to do with it. I'm going to make the recording available. What about that? You can also go by it. I already explained text to column there. The other format that you're talking about, I already explained it there, so you can check out the videos when we get the recording.
okay, but the problem I have with the videos is that it's not always clear. It doesn't have an option of increasing the quality of the video. It looks a little bit blur, so it makes it
Okay,
difficult to details.
okay. Now I get that part, so we can see what we can do about that. So, Clement and this thing. So I'm just going to quickly run through a particular one for you, just to understand that. You understand that? Just the parts, and I'm going to quickly run through the Clement so that we can have, because of our time, we have a lot of things to deal with. Okay, now, for that part that you just mentioned, now, just a minute. Now I said, how do I go back to these things? Okay. Now, for this part now, we can use text to column to extract the narrator name instead of using text after. Use text to column. And how do you do that? It's just by coming to data tab here. Click on text to column. And from this part, what separates the narrated by and the narrator name is this column sign that you have there. So it's delimited. You have to select delimited. Then you click on next. Then you have to click on order and put the separator there. So if the separator is a comma, you can see you have to select the comma option. If the separator is semicolon, you have to select the semicolon option. If separator is space, you have to select the space colon. But in this case, it is this column. So I have to select order since it's not listed out of the options I have here. Then I put the delimiter inside that box, which is the column. You can see when I put it there, automatically it has separated the column into two equal parts the way I want it. Now the next one is click on next. In this part now, I don't want to import this narrator or narrated by into my Excel worksheet. So I can skip it by selecting the column and click on do not import that particular column. I want to import the other one. So if I put do not import, it's not going to import this particular column and it's going to import the other. Then I click on finish. Then I have my column here. I can now click on narrated, maybe narrator name or something. So that's that. So for the other person that asked about the date column. So now to convert the date column to the appropriate date format, you select the column, you come to text to column. From text to column, you are not selecting delimited because you don't want to say I'm not separating the column into different columns. I just want to like correct the data type. So I'm going to select fixed width. Let it just be the way it is. Then I click on next. Click on next again. So at this part now that is selecting general, so I have to select the date format because it's a date column. And from the date column, you can see that the default date that is selecting is month, day, and year. Meanwhile, the original format of the data set is day, month, and year. So you have to select day, month, and year. So as you can convert everything to the same format. So after selecting that, just click on finish. And automatically you have your date in the same format and everything is correct and perfect. So that is that. Now, another thing I want to talk about.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So another thing I want to talk about now is while we are dealing with the data, it is okay for you to check the filter option to check if there's an inconsistency in your data set, that is probably there's something that is not supposed to be there that is there. You will know because you are the one analyzing the data and you know what's supposed not to be there. Like what are the things you need to remove? You will know. So you can check that also. Now, another thing we want to check before I go to this time one is the price. I noticed that some of the price has free in it. That's why I said you have to check. Some of the price are free. You can see we have free. Now, if a particular audiobook is free, instead of me having two data type inside one column, that is free is a text and price is a numeric value. So in order to analyze it, it might be confusing the Excel or something like that. So I have to convert everything to the same format. So instead of putting free, why can't I just replace free with zero? Since free means that they are not paying for it, that means it is free. So I can replace that one with what? With zero. So how can you do that? You can do that by just selecting the column. Just select everything, put the value in the column, and go to this option here that we have here. Find and replace. under the home tab. You can see find and replace. So you click on find. So what am I looking for? Find. What am I finding? So you type in free here. And what am I replacing it with? I'm replacing with 0. So it's going to look through all the columns that are selected, and anywhere you find free, it's going to replace it with the word 0. So replace all. So you can see all done. We made 12 replacements, and that's that. So you can close it. So if I go ahead, if I go back and check it now, and you can see there's no free anymore. We have 0. So that is correct. So now other thing that we want to talk about now is what I'm trying to do this thing is this. So other thing I want to do now is this time column. So all we've been talking about now, we've talked about the general cleaning problem. So that is major, like 90% of the time, that's the type of problem that you have your data set. This one missing value, inconsistent data set, capital letter, small letter. This one has full stop, this one does not have full stop, stuff like that. Those are the things we have to look for. And remove. For example, now, yeah, before I go to that part now. Sometimes you can have maybe some of the name or some of this thing, maybe the same name, or like Rick Riordan, or what is one like this. Some of the name can have some things in it, like probably after this name, there's a comma after it. Why the other one does not have a comma? There's a full stop after it, doesn't have a full stop. That's an inconsistency in data set.
Again.
You hello? Hello? Is someone okay? I have Lawrence. You have a question? Okay, I have Lawrence. Lawrence, are you there? Sekina.
You have answered my question. You have answered my question, sir.
Okay. Because of your hands. Okay, Sekina. I think Ian, please. Do you have a question?
Not like I have a question. You were saying what next to that? I was saying that the stars column, that we could actually use the text to column to remove stars from rating.
Yes, exactly. That's what you are going to use for that. You can use text to column to remove that. Yes.
But there is no delimiter between it. So what will you use as your delimiter?
For this one now. So for this particular text now, so I have now first of all, before you can use this particular one, some of them is having not rated yet. So you have to consider this one now. Some of them, maybe those ones that haven't not rated yet, replace it with 0. You understand? So first of all, you have to do that replacement of this one that doesn't have not rated yet. Then when you click on text to column to separate this one, text to column, and we have let me see fixed width. Let's go next. Just a minute. Let me list fixed width. Let's cancel. So I'm using delimiter now. So separate all these ones into delimiter. Let's say we are using delimited next, and I'm using my delimiter is space. Now, so what we need to do now is, first of all, I'm going to extract the stars, which is the stars of video. I'm not importing the outs. I'm not importing this other one. I'm not importing this last one. So I'm going to import these stars and the stars I have here and this other one I have here. So after importing this, let me try and do this briefly for also that we can get that. That's our assignment too. I think this is your assignment. I shouldn't have. Let me talk about this now. This is your assignment. A lot of people have not submitted their assignments. So if I'm doing this now, that means I'm giving answers to the assignments. No, let's other people submit it. I'm sorry, Ian, but let's talk about this one tomorrow. Is that okay? When we are talking about the assignment.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So now the next one is we have the time. So I'm going to like separate this time thing now. But what I noticed about the time is this: for me to be able to, I have some inconsistency in the time column. So I have some of them that is actually 1 minute. I have some of them that is 10 minutes. I have some of them that is 10 hours. So it is not really consistent. So if I'm trying to use text to column to separate this one now, then there will be an issue. I won't be able to identify which one is hours and which one is minutes. You understand? Because some of them only have hours and some of them only have minutes. So if I'm trying to use text to column, those ones that are minutes are going to be seen as an hour. So I won't be able to differentiate which one is hour, which one is minutes. So what we can do in this case now is like make sure the data set is consistent for everything. Like consistent in the sense that they are in the same format. So when they are in the same format, that's when you can now what? That's when you can now split and extract from it. That's the first part. So in that part now, so what I did was this. I first of all checked the different values that have there, different options. So I have someone that is less than 1 minute. So those one that is less than 1 minute, that's the first thing I deal with. I replace them with 0. So those ones that are less than 1 minute, replace them with 0. So first of all, I also filter the ones that have less than 1 minute. Because if it's less than 1 minute, it's still 0 minutes. So filter, here's that text filter, is equals to or contains less than, let's just say contains less than. So that I can filter less than, that's the less than, or you can just filter from there. So these are the ones that contain less than 1 minute. So let me just insert a column here to be able to like carry out my processing. So for those ones that are less than this particular 1 minute now, I want to replace them with 0. So I just click on 0. Fill up the cell with 0. So that's that. So this is, I'm creating a new column for this pre-processing thing. So anyone that has less than 0, feed them with less than 1 minute, feed them with 0. So that's that. So for this second one now, clear the filter. So for the second one now, what I want to do now is those that have only hours. So I want to like add the minute to them. So since they have only 10 hours, then they have 0 minutes. That will be 10 hours and 0 minutes. So that everything can be in the same format. So to do that now, I'm going to filter those that have only hours. So I can use text filter here. And if you notice that the hours, some of them have HR, HRS, and HR alone. So they are still hours and hours. So those are the inconsistency data set. So to filter that one out, I'm going to use my filter option here, and I'm going to select if the value contains HR or HRS. You have to select contains here too. Contain HR or HRS. So if I select contains HR, HRS, it's not going to give me my list because majority of them contain HR, HRS. So what I can do here, sorry, that's a mistake. So what you're going to do here is like ends with, because you know they end with this HR. So ends with, I'm going to select ends with HR or ends with HRS. Okay. Then I have them here. You can see. Now you know why I'm using or. Or is like, okay, if this one contains this or it contains this. So that's that. So for this one now, what I need to do now is this. I want to filter, create a concatenate function for all these ones to filter to like make them to be in the same format. So I'm going to select all these things, just select it. So I'm going to write my formula here. So to write my formula in this particular one, hold on. I can come here using concatenate. So for me to get
also concat.
Yeah, concatenate. That's what we use. Concat, that would be concat. Then you select the first one, that is 10 hours, comma. You put space because the way it is written, 10 hours and some 0 minutes. You have to be space. So you put space in quotes. Space the character space, comma. Then you put the and in quotes. And because everything has to be in quotes because it's text, comma. Then you put space again, comma. Then you now put 0 minutes. Put 0 minutes. And that's that. I'm getting something. Okay, I didn't put the closing column here. So it has to put column here. Then I close the brackets. Then you can see now, it's giving me the format of the other ones. You can drag this thing down by just, applying your referencing for this. And you get it now. So it's actually consistent with the original data set that we have. So if I want to split this one now, I will know that this one is 1 hour, this one is 0 minutes. So if I'm converting it, it won't be issue. So for the second one also, I've actually given that one. So the other one that we have is those ones that have minutes alone. Those ones that have minutes alone. So for that one now, I'm going to click on ends with. So you can see ends with so ends with minutes. So you can do minutes or ends with minutes. That is the plural form because we have something that have minutes and everything like that. So I click OK now. It has filtered out that particular column for me. So those that ends with minutes, you can see some of them that ends with minutes. You can see all of them that as minutes. So for me to deal with this particular one, for me to deal with this other ones now, so what I need to do is just I have to do the same function. So if you check this one, how many rows do we have there now? We have 10,003. So I can do that one. So what I need to do for this one now is select equals to hold on just a minute. Okay, so before I go to that one, before I use the before I create the one that has only ordinary minutes, first of all, let me fill up these ones that contains the original value, the ones that contains both hour and minutes. Now they are empty, so I want to fill them up with the original value. So in this case now, I'm going to clear this filter. So the ones that contains these other ones, let me fill them up first. So in this case, I'm going to do filter contains contains hour and minutes. Just a minute. Where is this thing? Okay. So for this one ends with I'm trying to get this thing out, which I feel like I should actually deal with minutes before I deal with hours. I should actually deal with minutes before I deal with hours. Because majority of them are 9 minutes together. So okay, let's do that first. Contains just it begins with begins with probably hour and begins with hour and end with because I have to do for the two now. That's another way. Probably begins with hour and ends with minutes. So you have to do that one. Minutes. Okay, we don't have anyone that begins with that as minutes. Okay. Another thing you can do is begins with hours. No. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Does not contain, sorry. Does not contain hour. So those one that does not contain hour is what I want to filter as well. So does not contain hours or does not contain hours, sorry. So click OK. So those are the ones I'm looking for here. We have some minutes We have okay. This is cool, but this is still not cool. Hold on just a minute. It does not contain, just a minute, filter. It does not contain hour and it does not contain hours. Yes. So that's that. Actually, I should have used and instead of all. So it does not contain hours or concern hours. It's going to bring out only the ones that contains minutes for me here. You can see those are the minutes now. So I want to convert these minutes ons into different what's it called now, into the format that I have initially. So if you notice for this one now, we have some of them that has 0 in it. You know, those ones that are less than particular less than 1 minute, we convert them. So for me to apply this formula here now, so I have to select all this cell from up to down. So I have to select everything from up to down. So after selecting it now, so I want to type in my formula here now. So some of the cells that I have here still has 0 in it. So I don't want to replace 0 because if I try to like write the formula and I use my autofill, it's going to fill up those ones that replace the ones that have 0 in it. So what I want to do now is this. I wanted to like use a function in Excel whereby it allows me to only fill the formula to the blank cells. So what I want to do now, the formula I'm about to write now, I want you to populate only the blank cells in this particular column, not those ones that are not blank. So only the blank cells. For me to do that, so I have to go to this find and replace and go to click on go to. So from the click on special. So from this special now I'm going to click on blank. So when I select blank now and I click OK, now what this one is going to do for me is that the formula I'm about to write now is going to fill up only the blank cells. It's going to apply to only the blank cells. The cells that are not blank is going to exclude them. So let me write the formula. Oh, sorry. Fill up, select the cell from up again. So go to option here. Special blank. Okay. Then you have type in your formula. That will be equals to. So I want to create a concat for this one too. But it's going to be 0 hour and the rest is going to be minutes. Concat. Then you select 0 hour. So you put 0 hour in quotes. That will be 0 hours. You can put hours of hour. And that's that. Then the comma, you put space. And comma, you put and. The next one, you put space again. Then you select the cell, which is the last one that you wanted to put. Then click OK, close the brackets. Now, before you click enter, you don't click enter for this one now. So for you to be able to fill up the blank space, you have to press Control Enter. Control Enter. You don't press enter in this case. It's going to be Control Enter, and automatically it's going to fill up the blank space. And you can see those that are blank is filled up. You can see it has converted everything. So those that have less than, you will see the options there too. You see those that have less than, yeah, skip the particular row and leave them at 0, and like that, like that. So that is for that one. So the last part is now that those that want that have the original data format, which contains both hour and minutes. That's what you want to like bring in now. So I'm going to select everything now. So for the other ones that doesn't really need much of cleaning, that is in correct format, we just replace it with the original value. So for this one, it's going to be equals to this cell. So what we need to do is just use the special P special to be able to like fill up the empty cells, because if I try to use a formula for other ones, then it's not going to take it. So I'm going to use the special button. So just highlight the whole cell from up to down. You can use select the whole cells from there. So it's going to take a bit of minute here. Just a minute. As that. But this thing is taking forever. So what you need to do, just instead of going through that long process, just select the column and probably select the next one. Select the column. So I'm going to go to special here and go to special and blank. So what do I want to replace with the blank cells? So the blank cells, replace it with the original value, which is this. And sorry, select this one. You can put it that way like that. So select the everything, go to special, special blanks. Okay, then you type in equals to this, and I press Ctrl Enter, and it's going to fill up the empty cells, and that's that. So we can see that we have our data sets clean now. So this is everything here is in the correct format now. Everything here is in correct format. So I can now use my text and split. So for me to use text splits, let me just copy this formula and place it to the original one that I have here. Paste as value, not as a formula now. So delete this one. So since everyone is in the same format now, so I can use text to column for this. Just come to data tab, text to column, and you can see you can now use delimited next, and the data has been split by space because space is the delimiter. Now, for this, I don't need the hours, I don't need the and I don't need the minutes. So I'm just going to skip all this. Click on next. Skip the columns that you don't need. So this, I don't need this, do not import. I don't need this to do not import. And I don't need the do not import. Oh, okay. So before I actually do that, sorry, there's a quick thing you have to do. You have to insert a column. Now, depending on the number of columns that you want to extract from this particular column now, so you have to leave a space for the other column to fit in. So I'm going to leave because I'm bringing in two variables, which is the hour and the minute. So I have to leave a column so that it can fit into the two. So after that, select text to column, delimited, next, and space, next. Skip the part that I don't need, which is the hour. Do not import. Do not import. And do not import. So after that, just click on finish. Then I have my hour and minutes. So the first one is the hour. So I can just change this one to hour. And the second one is the minutes. So I can change this one to minutes. So for me to convert everything, so I want everything to be in the same format. So it's better for me to convert it to the same unit, which is minutes. Because minutes is the lowest unit. So it's better to convert everything to minutes. So in this case now, to convert everything to minutes, that means I have to convert this into hours. And convert hours to minutes is 2 times like the hour times 60. So everything being minutes. So we have everything in minutes like this. And that's that. So everything is in minutes. So I don't really need this. Before I delete this, I have to create another column here, which is to put everything together. So to create the time column for everything in minutes now is going to be equals to the hour plus the minutes. Then you create anything. So you delete this, copy this one, which is the original column, and paste it here, which is the time as a value. Then you cannot delete other columns that you have here that you don't need. You don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. So this is the time in minutes now. You can see the process it took us to print the time column alone. So now you can analyze your time in minutes. Like, okay, what is the average time in minutes for each audiobook? So that is the cleaning for this thing. So the assignment for this particular one is the stars. So I want you to like split the stars. I know it's going to be challenging for some people, but that's the assignment. We are going to talk about the solution tomorrow. So I don't want to go to that now. So any question on this data cleaning part before I move to the other one? Okay, I see a lot of hands up now. Lucy, can you go?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if concat and concatenate means the same thing.
Yeah, they mean the same thing. It's just
Oh,
that
okay.
concatenate is interpreted like concatenate is a function that is in Excel. but it means the same thing.
Ah,
It means
okay,
the same.
thank you.
Malaki,
Good evening, sir.
good evening.
And that is just the same question because I had challenges with my own Excel. It was showing me concatenate instead of concat. I saw
Yeah,
concatenate.
it's the
I
same thing.
tried, I tried using it. I don't know if there is like any other formula that you can use for it because I tried the one. It has not worked yet, but I'm still
Con- Concatenate is not what it should work actually. Concatenate should work. It's the same thing. Concatenate should work.
okay.
It's just like yeah, it's the same thing. It's work.
It wasn't working for me. That's why I'm even asking if they are really the same thing. Because
It's
it was just telling me error, error. It was showing me error message.
okay. Wait, concatenate. Concatenate is a deprecated version, but you should have concat. Why don't you have concat? You can see concatenate text one. Let's say, for example, now I'm merging this cell together, comma. I'm putting space now, comma. This is working. That's what I just choose now. Do you get that? It's working. It should work. The same function. Try and see whether you are you putting like when you are separating your parameters that you are inputting, are you putting comma, separating each one of them by comma? Maybe that's where the thing comes in. But it will work. It will work. Okay, so uh okay, there's no other question. So now let's go. That's that about data cleaning for our last session. So now the next one is the data analysis, which is one of the juicy parts of the whole. So analyzing data sets now. Now the tools that we are using for this one, we talk about pivot table and some other ones. We talk about pivot table. We talk about what if analysis. We talk about yeah, that's it. So let's quickly go to pivot table. So for the pivot table, the data set that we have for pivot table is the superstore data set. So let me quickly go through the superstore data set, which is this. Now, so I gave a couple of questions. I said, okay, this is not this one that contains the question. Sorry, let me open the other one that contains the question. Stop to. Okay, so this is it. Now, one of the things I talked about here is this. I said data analysis, like I explained in our earlier session, that before you can identify or analyze data set, there must be a problem that you are trying to solve. Now, before they can contact you to come analyze data, there's a problem you are trying to solve. Is that they are trying to extract some information so that they don't know, or they are trying to like get an answers to some things that doesn't really seem clear, and they know that the answer is always in the data. So the answer to everything that you are looking for is in the data, but it's in the raw form, and they don't know how to extract it. So that's why you are called out. So they explain the problem to you. From the problem statement, after discussing with them and asking a lot of questions, please, when you're analyzing the data or you're doing a kind of analysis in your company, any place you're working, ask a lot of questions. Don't just assume that probably you understand what they want to do. If you understand, make sure you really understood very, very well. So if you don't understand, ask a lot of questions so that you can get it in details. Because if you don't understand the questions or the problem very, very well, it will be very, very hard for you to be able to like come here and say you want to analyze the data set. So it's better for you to understand the question very, very, very well. And when you get the questions, then you can now actually go ahead and analyze data set. So from the problem, like I said, where is the, sorry, I have the data set here. The data set, I created the data set in any of this. For just a minute, Excel class. Oh my God, do I really do this? Excel class, Excel class, Excel class. Just a minute. Excel class. Oh my God. Sorry, I don't have the data set, but let's just look at the data set. The questions, I think I mistakenly delete some of the things I have here. But let's look at it in general. I'm going to get the question in our next class. Download. Just a minute, please. Download. Sorry, let me check. Ah, thought I have this thing. So I'm going to use any of the data sets here because I don't have that one yet. So I'll just quickly go through it. Okay, so this data set now. I said Superstore is is an e-commerce website, e-commerce company, and they find out that there's been a drop in their sales for a couple of months now, and they want to know why there's a drop in sales because it's really affecting the profit and it's affecting the company. When the company is not making sales, everything will be affected, and so they really want to know what is really going on and how they can solve it. Now, after getting their question, after identifying their problem, that okay, this there's a drop in sales for a couple of periods now. Now we sit down is from asking them questions, them answering me that we're able to like now I will convert the business problem into a questions that I can answer with data sets. So when they give you a problem statement of what they are trying to like solve now, you have to convert that business problem into a questions that you cannot answer with your data set. So some of the questions I come up with the other time is, if I can remember, sorry, I misplaced the sheets, the workbook. So sorry about that. What region has the highest sales? Region with the highest sales? Can you remember? So question like that, region with the highest sales, region with the highest profit, and I ask customer with the uh maximum, the highest purchase and stuff like that. So that some of the questions I ask in to answer the problem. Now to answer this data with pivot table, now I already collected the data sets based on the problem. So what is going to lead to the type of data I'm going to collect is the problem, what you're trying to solve. Because there's a drop in their sales for a period of time, and then I have to collect data on their past sales. So collect data on their past sales for me to identify where the problem is coming from, and now we can provide solution to it. So those are the questions I listed to answer with this. So to answer the questions with this data set now, I have to use pivot table for that. And for me to use pivot table, so I'm going to select the data set, come to insert here. From the insert, you can see the pivot table option. So you click on pivot table, and from pivot table, you can see it's asking you where you are getting your data source from. Are you getting your data source from an external data source? Like probably I'm connecting to probably a database or connecting to scripting. I'm scripting my data from a website, or any other data source like that. So for this now, I'm bringing in an Excel file, a CSV file. But for this one, I have my data set open here, so it's going to be a range. So I'm getting my data from a table range. Automatically, it's going to highlight the range of the data set. You can see from A1 to B, the 3,920. So that's the range of my data set. And you can see them here. So the next one is, where do I want to put my results? In a new worksheet or existing worksheet? So we want to put it in a new worksheet. So I click OK. Now we have our pivot table from here. So my left hand side, this is where you have your results. This is where you have your pivot table results. While the right hand side is where you carry out your analysis. So this type of pivot table analysis is kind of like a drag and drop something. It's very, very easy. Just drag it and drop it, drag it and drop it, and you are good to go. So that is that one. So if you check down now, it's separated into four main parts. We have the filter, we have the column, we have the row, and we have the value. The filter is when you drill down on your data sets. Okay, I wanted to filter this data set based on this. Okay, I want to see the result for a particular segment. I want to see the result for a particular region. I want to see the result for a particular distance. So just to filter out your data based on your own preference. That's what this one is for. The column and the row, actually, it's what they actually represent is the arrangement of your table. So the way your table, you want your table to be arranged, probably you want this particular column to be arranged on column. You drag it to the column field. You want it to be arranged on row, you drag it to the row. So now, for example, now what I mean by row and column field is this. So if I drag in region here, please can you help us mute your mic? Okay, thank you. So for example, now as I drag in the row field to the region, I can see the regions are arranged on a row basis. So if I drag in another thing, let's say I drag in segments to the column field, you can see it is arranged on the column basis. So the arrangement of the table is what will determine what you place on the column or what you place on the row. And what you place on the column and what you place on the row is the variable that you're aggregating on. I'm still going to talk about that very, very shortly. So that's that about the column and the row. So if I drag in the region to the column, and I drag in the column segment to the field, to the, as you stay arranged. Or I can have everything on the row, still going to be arranged. So depending on the way you want your arrangement to be, that's what determines what you drag. The row and the column. Now the next one is the value. Value is what you drag to the value is the metric you are trying to calculate. So I'm trying to calculate maybe sales, total this. So if I drag in, and what you drag to the metrics majority of time is always numeric value, although you can drag in categorical data there. What is going to do with categorical data is only going to give you the counts. Only the counts. So if I drag in a numeric data set, so the metrics you are trying to calculate is what you drag to the value field. If I drag in sales now, you can see by default, it's going to give me the sum of sales, that is total sum of sales. So I can aggregate the sales based on the region. So I drag in region to the row field now. So this is the sales, total sales for each region. That's total sales for central, total sales for east, total sales for south, total sales for west. The default calculation that this value field is going to do is sum, but you can change it to any other thing. I can change it to probably average. So if I want to see the average sales, I can select average. If it's the maximum sales, I can select maximum. Minimum product is just multiplication. You can see count number, standard deviation. We have the variance. So depending on the metrics that you want to do. So the metrics does not really go beyond this. A majority of time is just sum, count, average, max, mean, standard deviation, and the likes. So for this one, now, since we want to see the sales by region, so it's going to be sum. So this is total sales by region now. And we can see the total sales made in each region. So we said you want to see, so you can format this cell to give it very nice something. So you can see. So I want to see the region with the highest sales. From this now, I can identify the region with the highest sales, which is the central. Central is the one with the highest sales. And you can also sort it. Probably you want to sort it in descending order. Probably you want to present this on in a report for the boss to see. So you have to sort it probably in descending or ascending order. Let's say in descending order. So central is the region with the highest sales, followed by west, followed by east, followed by south. So that is that about sales by region. Now, if I want to see the sales by region for each segment, what is the sales by region for each segment? So I can drag in the segment to the row field, to the column field. You can see it has break it down now. So this is the total sales for central for consumer segment, total sales for corporate for central, total sales for home office for central, total sales, and this is the grand total. You can see you can arrange it that way, and this might be better. Or you can drag in the segments to the row field, whereby it's going to break it down this way. So depending on the way you want your arrangement to be, so you can easily get it based on just drag, switching the rows and the columns. So that's the sum of sales. Now, if I want to see, the next thing I want to check now is, let's say I want to see the customer with the highest purchase. Customer with the highest purchase. That is customer with the highest purchase. So I can come here now and select customer. That is the customer name. So I want to know the customer with the highest purchase. Select customer name. Now, I'm going to drag to know the customer with the highest purchase now is based on their order ID. You know, when you order a particular item, it generates a unique order ID for every order that you make. If you go there today, generate another order, go there today, create another order. So to know the highest purchase, I'm going to like drag in the order here now, order ID. So count of order. You can see the count of order now. I'm getting count. So from this now to know the customer with the highest purchase, I can sort this thing in descending order or just filter out the top one. That will give me the highest. I might be looking for top 10, top 5, top that. So I can come on the filter option here and go to what's it called? Value filter. So I can select top 10. So when you click on top 10 now, you can drill it down to what you want, maybe top 5 or top something. So I click OK. And this is the customer. The name of the customer is Tracy. He's the one that guys purchase, probably wants to give him a gift or something. So that is that one. Now another thing is I want to see probably the segment with the highest segment that made the highest profits or segment that made the lowest profits. Now you notice that these are the questions that I'm just asking to be able to arrive at what is causing the drop in sales for Superstore. Now you have to highlight those questions from your problem and from your thinking. And most of these questions will come from you as a data analyst. Okay, what are the questions I need to ask for me to be able to like identify this after getting the problem? Then you list them out and you answer them. So after asking the questions, then you're able to like put everything together and identify where the issue is coming from. So you're able to identify where the issue is coming from. So let's say I want to see the region with the highest profits now. A segment with the highest profits. So I can drag the segment here and I drag profits to the value field, and you can see his home office. All of them, the rest are lost. So his home office has profit. So you can do this. Another thing, like made mention in the video, is like you can duplicate the table. Probably you want the video for a table for each one. You don't want to like be changing it. You can create different table for each one by copying the table and pasting it. So that when I click on this now, automatically the pivot table field is going to enable on this. And when I click on this, it's going to enable on this. So if I drag this one and said, okay, this one is not as profit again, it is probably quantity. You can see. When I click on it, it's going to switch to profits and click on it. So those are the various questions that you have to ask to identify the problem. So while asking these questions and getting answers, be able to identify where the issue is coming from. Now, from a look of things, now I find out that this home office, they are at loss. Now, the data set I have here is for probably from 2014 to 2017. Now, you want to see the year whereby this home office is really at loss. You understand now, like what year they start the loss, or so if I can get the year, I can know what is happening that year and probably contact the person that, okay, what happened in this year? Why are you running at loss for this particular segment or this particular product? Is it that people are not coming to buy it, or is out of date? So you have to like identify what is really causing it. So to identify the year that is actually causing the major problem, so I can drag in the date column. Now, if I drag in the order date, I want to aggregate based on date. When you drag in dates, like I said in the video, when you drag in dates to either the row or column, it automatically group the dates based on year, quarter, months, and days. It's aggregated based on year column, depending on the range of data set that you have. If the data set that you have is in years, it's going to group them based on years, months, years, quarter, month. So that's where it's going to group them on. So for this one, I already have it. You can see. Actually, I want to do it for this one, not this. For the home office, I drag it here. Okay. So I already grouped the date, so I can just drag in this, drag in here, drag in this here. So I'm going to drag another date. It's only here. So I already have the 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. So from this now, I can see a trend here now that, okay, corporate in 2014, there's a loss recorded in 2014, 2015. And you want to dig down to what is actually causing the loss in this 2014 and 2015. Why are they lost? Is it because we do something or anything? And you can see that majority of the loss is coming from 2014 and 2015 for corporate and consumer. Now you want to ask, what do we do in 2014? This is where you take the question back to the right. What really happened in 2014 and 2015 that really made us run at loss? You don't have the question. You don't have the answers to it. But they that is in the sales department or any department or the product department might have answers to that. So you ask them. You have to provide answers to it just for you to make sense out of the data set. So those are the different processes that we have about the data analysis. Another thing I want to talk about now is this. You can create what's it called now? You can create a column. Now let's say I have some columns here. All the columns I have here. Probably I want to create an analysis and the column is not involved here and I wanted to create it. So you can create a calculated column. Now the calculated column I want to create is the profit margin. So I want to see the profit margin for each segment. And we all know that profit margin is the profit divided by revenue or sales. Yeah, that's the formula economics. So to do that now, so I'm going to come to the pivot table analyze here. Under the pivot table analyze option here, I'm going to click on field and item. So select calculated field. Now the first thing is, what's the name of the calculated field I want to create? I want to create is profit margin. Now what is the formula? So you type in the formula here. So it is sales divided by profit. So we select sales, insert the field there, put the division but option there and input profits. I click on insert field. Now this is our sales margin formula. So if I click OK now, that it has already created the sales margin, and you can see the sales margin for each segment. So we have and this sales margin is actually in percentage. So the sales margin is just telling you the proportion, the percentage of the profit or loss that is coming to you from your total sales. So that's what that one is actually saying. This one was supposed to be general. So this one's supposed to be you divide this one by this one is not supposed to be in, it's supposed to be 5.9. It's not supposed to be 5%. Sorry, there's something here. I'll just have to format this sales percentage back and drop this problem. So this should be in general. Now there's a percentage something here. So for me to get this, let me just divide this thing by 100. Should be okay. So the okay, that's correct actually. The original one is just a minute. Okay, it's 5.9 is correct. It's correct. So this is the profit margin for. So that's the profit margin for that particular product. I think let me get the formula right. Something. Profit margin. It is something here. Just a minute. Copy this. To get something right. Change it. Yeah, it's correct. But the value is actually too extreme. It's because of data set. It's just like a fictional data set. It's not really correct. So what the profit margin is telling us is the proportion of the total sales that we take as our profit. That's that one. What that is telling us, the proportion of our total sales that we take as our. That's that. So if I convert this one to percentage now, This one is telling me that 597% of our revenue is our profit. It's actually it's not profit margin is not always like this. It's because data set is fictional. That's why. So that for the pivot table. Please, before I go ahead, any question on the pivot table aspects? Do you have any question on pivot table? Anybody at all? Okay. That means we on it. Okay. Akipelu.
So are we going to get the video of this class? Because that pivot table, I think I have some issues about it, but I don't want to get into it, so we'll not start again. So maybe I'll just watch the video.
Yeah, I'm going to give, yeah, you get a video. You get a video.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. So okay, I think that's all for the data for that one. So the next one we move to is goal seek, scenario manager, and data team. Yeah, let me see. If I'm not actually mistakenly delete my Excel sheet so that big. Let me see if I'm not mistakenly God of mercy. Okay, I didn't delete it, thank God. So now, so back to our goal seek. So based on our thing I talk about goal seek is an Excel built-in function that shows how one value in the formula impacts another. So what it actually do is this: it tends to like you have a goal that you wanted to like get. Okay, the goal is this: you are into production now, and you are producing product A, and when you develop your business model, you find out that your profit is probably 1,000. You are producing 10 products and you are getting $1,000 profit. Now, you want to increase your profit to a particular amount, let's say 5,000. So you want to determine what amount of product A should you produce for you to get that kind of like profit. That's one of the goal seek problem. So you are looking at, okay, you have a goal that you want to get, and what amounts or what should I change this variable to for me to achieve this particular goal? That's majorly what goal seek actually so. And the variables that we have in goal seek is we have the formula sales. Now, before you go seek, you must have created a business, a model, like a formula. That's the thing. Now, for example, now the formula I have here is this: I'm selling a product. The price of the product is 5 naira per unit. Like item price is $5 per product, and I'm producing 100 quantity. Now, for each quantity produced, I'm still going to pay a 10% commission rate on all of them. And when I calculate everything based on my business model, this is my profit. You can see 5 item times quantity, item price times quantity will give me the total revenue. And I'm going to remove the commission rate now. So that will give me my total revenue that I'm going to be getting from this particular business model. Now, I want to increase my profit to, let's say, $1,000 now. And I want to increase my profit to $1,000. So I want to know what is the total quantity I should produce for me to get a $1,000 profit. Now we can use goal seek to solve that type of problem. Now, how do we do that? I just click on the cell that contains the goal. Then you come to the data tab here. From data tab, you select the what if analysis and select goal seek. So when you select goal seek, now the first one is the set cell. The set cell contains the cells of your goal. That is, this is where you want. This is your goal. The goal is the revenue. So the cells of the goal, the cell of the goal is what is the set cell, which is the revenue cell. Now the next one is, and also the cell of the formula. The next one is the value. So value is what is the value of your goal that you want to achieve, which is 1,000. And the next one is what cell do you want to change to achieve that $1,000 goal. So I'm going to change the quantity. So what Excel is going to do is this. Goal seek is going to do is going to like just do a kind of like a formula and a rundown to get you the total number of quantity you should produce for you to get 1,000 revenue based on this business model. And you can see you have to produce 222 quantity for you to get the 1,000 $1,000 revenue. And that's that. So when you are okay with the result, you can just click OK, and you'll go again to permanent it. So another options I talked about is this. The other option I talked about is this. It's a typical business situation. You have a sales figure for the first 3 quarters, and you want to know how much sales you have to make the last quarter to achieve target net profit for the year. So for a particular year, you have a target which is $100 as your net profit. Now you already calculate the net profit for the other quarter, and when you sum up the total, you arrive at $74,000, which is not up to the goal that you are looking for. So now for you to achieve this $100,000 profit at the end of the year, you want to know how much you must make in terms of gross for the quarter four for Q4 for you to meet up your goal. That's what we want to use the goal sheet to determine for this one. You can use the goal sheet to determine that, to give you all this percentage of profit. This is the percentage of your net profit. So when you check the formula and see that's your net profit, and everything is on formula basis. Now to do that now, so I'm going to pull my cell here, go to goal seek under the what if analysis. Now your set cell is still your total profit, which is the cells that contain the goal. Now to what value? The value you want to achieve is $100,000. And by changing what cell? By changing the this cell that you have here, which is your gross profit. Now, so your gross sales, you can see everything is a formula. So before you use goal seek, you have to notice something, that everything is a formula here. So you've created a formula. This one is not a value. So you have to create the formula before it can work. So when you click OK now, you can see you have to like get a revenue of like 185,000 in the Q4 for you to meet up your net profit of $100,000. And that's how you can use goal seek to solve that kind of problem too. The last one on goal seek that I have here is about exams. So I have the student has already taken 2 exams, 2 out of 3 exams. The question is, what score does the student need to get for the 3rd exam to pass the entire course? So the pass score for the student is 70%. Now he has written like 2 exams, and the total score is 72% when he find the average. Now he wants to know what he must score in the 3rd exam for him to like meet up that goal of 70% as the average score. So that's what we want to achieve here. So it's just goal seek. And that's the set cell. The value is 70. So I'm going to put 70%, sorry. 70% so that we can get that. And changing what cells. Yeah, this cell. Okay, hold on. Okay, sorry. C24. Wait, this one should be C25. This one should be C25, which is the C25. That's the formula for this one. So this one is now, see this. Okay. And you can see he has to score 67 in the last exam for him to meet up. So that's that about goal seek. So scenario manager is just like I explained earlier, when you're trying to try out different scenarios. Now, you've already created your business model for the year, and this is it. And you have to create the model. Now, you want to increase your profit. That is what is coming to your mind. Like, you want to increase the profit. So you come up with different scenarios. Like, okay, what if you increase the quantity of this? So you have come up with the best case scenario that you can get and the worst case scenario that you can get. So you wanted to know the profit that these 2 cases is going to give to us. So the best case and the worst case scenario. So the best case scenario is that probably, okay, I want to increase my what's it called now? let's just say I want to increase my quantity to, like, for the first one, I want to increase 56 and maybe 56, 57. Just for us to get a quick something. Let's just drop this thing. 56, 57. And the worst case scenario is that, okay, I want to increase your quantity to, like, maybe 38, 39. So you can just do this now. 38, 39. I drag this thing down. And that's that. So for this now, I want to try these three different scenarios to know what will be the total profit. So you can identify, okay, for this best scenario, this is the amount of profit we are getting, and this is the amount of profit we are getting for the worst case scenario. So you are going to use the scenario manager. Click on the scenario manager. The scenario manager option is this. So the first thing you need to do is just add your scenario. So you click on add to add a scenario. So the name of the scenario is, the one is best case. Let me just put the best case. And what cell am I changing? You know, what we are changing for this best case and the worst case scenario is actually the quantity. So it's the quantity. So I'm selecting the quantity, select everything like that. And the next one, I'm going to click OK. Then it's asking for the value of the each quantity. So the first one is 56. So the second one is 57, 58, 59. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Let me edit this thing back. Edit. Okay. So 57, 58, 59, and 60. So that's the best case scenario. So I'm going to click OK. Now to add the other one, actually, is because I click OK, I click on next to get the other one. So I'm going to click add again to add the worst case scenario. Let's just put worst case. And I click, it's the same cell, so it's C4 to C8. So I just click OK to input my value. So this one is 38, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. Okay, so that's that. So after I'm done, I'm going to click OK, and to get the answer, I click on summary, and from this part now, I'm going to click on summary, scenario summary. Now, before you click on scenario summary, now you have to put in the cells that contains the value you are checking, which is the total profit. You can see automatically identify the total profit. So the cells of the goal, you have to put it there, which is the total profit, which is INI. So after doing that, you click OK, and you can see this is the dialog box that he's going to give us. So for the best case scenario, see our profit, and for the current case, this is what we are making. For the best case scenario, this is the profit we are going to make if we change this value, and for the worst case scenario, this is the profit we are going to make if we change it. So this will give us an idea of, okay, which one should we go for, which one should we remove. Okay, let's go for the worst case scenario, because let's go for the best case scenario. Let's go for the same current scenario, because the profit between the worst case and the current one is not really that much. So how to use scenario manager to, like, answer questions like this. Now the last part of it is data table. Okay, I don't have the data table here. So I think I remember the questions I gave you for the data table. Data table is just like I'm currently running the stadium now, and I have a probably I'm the manager of the stadium, and it's the football season, and the total capacity of the stadium is, like, let's say 16,000. 16,000 is the total capacity of the stadium. Now I have a part. I have the stadium is, like, separated into, like, maybe different parts. Well, I want to separate the stadium into two different parts, just like when you go for normal events. Now, we have the VIP, we have the general. So there's a portion of the distance, probably 20% of this total capacity of the stadium, or the all, is what I want to give to the VIP. So by typing 20%, so 20% of this is going for VIP, and the other percent is going for general person. So for ticket for my VIP is actually high. So ticket for the VIP is maybe $300. So I put it $350. While the ticket for the general is $300. Now, for me, I want to calculate what is the total money I'm going to be making from this, from the total sales of this ticket. So I'm just going to create this now. So this one is going to be this one. This one is going to be this one times the total. So as to get me the, so and the other one is going to be this one times two brackets 1 minus this. So 1 minus 8 is just to give us the 80, you know. So this is the total amount of the VIP people I'm expecting and the general people I'm expecting. Now to get my revenue for this is this. I'm going to multiply this by this. So this is the revenue I'm getting from the VIP, and this is the revenue I'm getting from the general. Okay, I get some. Now the total revenue is, because of our time, let me just quickly go over this. And that's that. So you can format this thing a bit. Now I want to use the data table now. So probably because I feel like the turnout is really massive, I can see that a lot of people are really turning up to like to come up for the event or to come and watch ball. So I decided to like, okay, what if I increase the percentage of ticket I'm selling for VIP to like maybe 30 to 40 to 50%? How much am I going to be making in total? So if I increase the percentage of tickets of VIP to like 30, 40, and 50, what's the total revenue I'm going to be making? So in that case, let's say we have something like this. I'm going to create everything percentage. So 20, 30, and 40. So for this, so now get it to use data table to answer this question now. So this type of data table is like a one variable data table. So what I'm changing in this one is just one variable, which is the percentage of the tickets sold for the VIP people. So I'm going to put equals to, I'm bringing the formula, which is the formula that contains total revenue, which is the formula I'm trying to calculate. Now to use data table, I will highlight these two cells like this. Come to the what if analysis. Under the data, and select the data table. Now for the data table now, it's asking me for the value of the row and the value of the column. Now the value that I have here now is under the row, you can see is on the row basis. So it's asking for the corresponding value from this formula, that like the value that represents this variable that I'm changing from the formula is this 20% that I have here. So I'm going to put it under the row, which is this 20%, and I'm going to click OK. I'm not getting my value. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Sorry. Oh shit. What am I missing? Okay, sorry. What will correspond to what if analysis data table? Is it column value? Hold on. Yeah, so the value is column. It's not row. The value is column. Sorry, it's under this column. So now if I format this thing now, so if I increase, what did I just do? So if I increase this thing, if I increase my tickets, only the percentage of tickets sold for the VIP to like 20, 30, 40, I'm going to use the corresponding total revenue I'm going to be getting. You know, when it's 20%, it's still the same thing. When it's 30% is this, and when it is 40% is this. So that is actually that for data table. And we have the other variable, which is the second one. Let me quickly do that. So the second variable is this. If I'm increasing the, what's it called, the amount of price sold for the general or regular people from 300 to 310. So I want to increase the percentage, the amount of price for the general people to like 310 and 320. So I want to see the corresponding value also. So just select this data table and row input. So the row input will be the value of this thing here. No, first before I do that, sorry, I have to bring the formula here. Formula that I'm actually calculating, it has to be on top of this one. Highlight everything. Data table. Row input is this value that corresponds to the value on the row. That is, the value that corresponds to the row input is this one, which is the value here, and the value that corresponds to the column, which is this one, is this percentage. Yeah. I click OK. So this is the corresponding value for every one of them. So if I increase the ticket to 20% and this thing, I'm going to be getting this. If I increase to 20% rating, I'm going to be getting this. If I increase 20% and I'm going to be getting this. So that is that for data table. So tomorrow I'm going to like talk briefly about something which is the analysis two part. So if you want to carry out some kind of like statistical analysis, like descriptive analysis, regression, there's an option for that. So we're going to talk about that in our next class. So please, any question? I know the time is fast, and thank you so much, everyone. So any other question you have, we could be able to take that in tomorrow's class. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, everyone. Bye, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.